episode of Don Amiche versus everybody with Chris and Daniel this week. I love this part of the year. I just hate the it's like a lack of moisture in the air. Like my
yeah.
skin feels all kind of like dry. Or
hands and feet, everything gets really dry.
Yeah, I hate that.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I do. Even when your skin looks like all pale and stuff like that. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Is everything good? Yeah.
Can't complain.
No, yeah. I mean, we can. I got a lot of stuff I can complain about.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be optimistic.
Oh, is that the New Year? You got a New Year's resolution? It's coming up very soon.
Be optimistic.
You don't, Chris, you don't sound optimistic.
Be optimistic, and I've really gotta go back to really doing my spiritual work. I kind of put that on hold for a while.
What do you mean? What's wrong?
Like, reading the Bible more and being more optimistic and praying more. I kind of put that on hold a bit, out of frustration. We all go through that.
What?
Yeah.
Why? No.
Yeah, and being more present in my church services. Stuff like that. I got to really, really work on that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We all go through that. Sometimes we go through hard times and then we get really angry. That's how I am. I get really angry. And so that's why I love therapy. I can't believe that I didn't give therapy a shot back in the day. I really don't understand why I didn't. I have a really good therapist now, finally a good connection, met somebody that cares, and he's helping me realize, I already knew life wasn't fair, but really helped me realize you got to keep pulling through and not like take a break, just keep pulling through. Because when you take that break, you're like falling behind. You got to keep pushing forward. So I got to work on that.
Yeah. Well, you want to read the Bible now? We'll go to Genesis 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast in the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Ye hath God said, Thou shalt not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of trees of the garden, but not of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall surely not die, for God doeth know that in the day ye eat of thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And the woman ate from the tree, gave it to Adam.
Oh, yeah, he's obsessed with the woman eating from
Would
the
you
tree.
like me to interpretate that to you for you?
Yes, please tell Daniel what you think about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You got to hear this.
All right, so here's my interpretation of the woman eating from the tree. Women can be easily influenced by things that are not of good for them. And because men love women so much, they can influence their man to do things because we give you our heart. You know what I'm saying? And so the devil can enter the house through the woman to disrupt the man.
Interesting.
And it is up to men to understand that because your woman gives you something, it is not for you to blindly take it and eat of it, do with what it will. You must use your own brain and the guidance that is set forth before you.
I like that. I think it's pretty interesting. Not bad. It's better than, eating from the tree of marijuana.
Well, no. Well, no, that one. Well, that's just one aspect. I do believe that the tree of knowledge or tree of good and evil or whatever it was a marijuana tree. I believe everybody was getting lit back in the day, even Jesus and Paul.
Oh my gosh!
Remember Paul when he was riding and he talked with Jesus? I believe he was high. Moses, the burning bush, I believe he was high. You know what I'm saying? Who else?
Oh,
Noah. Noah had to be high to build an ark to capture all the animals because he saw the flood coming.
He was dedicated. He was on a mission. He was following the assignment.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of psychotropic drugs that I think that are in the Bible that just are not interpreted. Here's what I believe. Okay? Take away technology. Take away the modern lifestyle, right? And just put human beings on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, things around us change. Technology, buildings, culture, and stuff like that. But people don't change. And so, as it was then, it is today.
so to speak, but technology has made things worse. I consider technology as good as it is, it's a form of demonicness.
I can agree with you there.
We're too addicted to it. We're too reliant on it, and people could not go back. If we took everybody's cell phones away, people would have a hard time. You know that
sure.
they would freak out. If we took the internet away, people would freak out. We're too reliant upon it. It's like we're addicted to all of these things.
I think it's a form of
It's
gluttony.
not good.
Form of gluttony there. You know?
Yeah.
Some of us still have a Thomas Guide, though. Wikipedia. Some of
Old
us.
See,
school.
that's good.
Art,
Old
yeah,
school.
encyclopedias.
Thomas Guide is good.
Yeah.
Old school Encyclopedia Britannica. Everybody had one of those. Let's go to Melrose, Larry Green, who is celebrating Hanukkah. How are you, Melrose?
First of all, I'm right here live, right here off Highland and Hollywood.
My own personal
And-
street team. I love this.
I know. Well, you're the best.
Yes.
And Krista,
Yes.
I'm already loving the show. It's only been on for 10 minutes today. And I've written something. Good news for Shantae. There's no racism in this song.
Okay,
It's
let's
the
hear it.
Don Amiche, 12 Days of Christmas.
Okay, go ahead.
But before I sing it, I need to know the name of the supermarket that you would use the bathroom for until Tamara let you use the bathroom.
That was Ralph's.
Okay, here we go. On the first day of Christmas, Don Amiche gave to me Krista's cat in a palm tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 calls from Tavis Smiley and Krista's cat in a palm tree. On the third day of Christmas, Don Amiche gave to me 3 Bible readings from Krista, 2 calls from Tavis Smiley and Krista's cat in a palm tree. On the fourth.
All right,
day
I don't
of
think I can.
Christmas-
I don't think I can sit through 12 days of this.
just a 5 days.
Okay, 5 days. All right.
On the 5th day of Christmas, Don Amiche gave to me 5 trips to the bathroom at Ralph's. Okay, I'll spare you for the other 7 days. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. I've got a sign saying, pardon me, Don, I used your name. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus from the rest of us, from Melrose, Larry Green, and Don Amiche, and Krista's cat.
I love you,
And
Melrose.
Krista.
It's a Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes.
I love
Thank
you. I
you.
love you.
All right, Melrose. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Be safe out there, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, a true story there. My girlfriend made me use the bathroom for months at Ralph's. She would not let me use the bathroom. I would come over. She wouldn't let me into the back area of her house. I mean, luckily she did, and I didn't mind. I get it. I get it, but I had to walk to the Ralph's to use the bathroom.
Wow.
I have the code in my phone, it was very
Like
interesting.
Starbucks, the code.
Yeah, you got to have a code. I got it. Well, I mean, it's because I had to go to the bathroom. She was like, "Yeah, not in my house." I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I mean, I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Didn't like it, but
But I think that's really nice that you were understanding, because not a lot of guys would have been understanding.
No, I mean, well, you got to have patience. I mean, listen, when you have young children, especially they're girls, and you have to be very protective over them because. We were just getting to know each other, and she didn't know me from anything. I mean, she knew of me, but didn't really know me, and didn't really have a good sense of trust around your children. So, I like if you really care about somebody, you don't. I mean, what do I care about going to the bathroom down the street?
Yeah, I hear you.
So there you go. It's all good. Derek Jackson, you guys remember him? He's like an Instagram relationship coach. He accidentally stepped out on his wife, and then she.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
He did an apology video, and
With her
Yes, I
wearing a
remember.
bonnet or something.
Yeah, there
Everybody
you go.
Firestorm. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and so now they filed for divorce.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate. I mean, sometimes things happen like that. You can go into relationships with all the best intentions. You can try to make things work, and you can push through heavy and hard times, but there comes a point where for your own sanity, where you have to say, I just cannot do this anymore, because you don't want to be in a relationship that is creating bad energy for your mental health. Like at some point, marriage, you're not supposed to suffer. Relationships are challenging, but suffering through a relationship is a bad thing.
Yes, it is.
Gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah, and then on top of that, and it's one thing that if you're suffering, but then you're actively trying to work through your things, going into counseling and working. I think that's suffering that you can push through if there is two logical individuals who are working to try to strengthen the communication skills and each other's needs and wants by by learning each other through counseling and help. That's one thing. But if there is no facilitation of help in trying to repair a relationship that one party or another is suffering through, that is a recipe for disaster and divorce at the end of the day. And nobody should, it says until for better, for worse, for sickness and in health, or to best do its part, or whatever. But that doesn't mean that you have to torture yourself. I mean, for better, for worse is like, hey, we're going to get through the bad times. I mean, love may wane because of life stressors, and we may need to work through this. But I don't believe that vow means that you have to suffer and be mentally tortured in a relationship. Nobody deserves that. And it's better to let your partner go find someone that who will give them exactly what they need, or maybe they need some alone time.
See, but vows should be taken very seriously, especially if you're getting married in a church. And some people really believe because they get married by a pastor or priest, they take those vows very seriously. And there's certain things that, like there's a woman I've told you about multiple times. Her husband's in jail for molesting their grandchild. And because she got married at a Mormon church, she's still, to her, that's still like a for better or for worse. And she has not divorced him. I think that's cause for divorce.
That's absolutely cause.
That's cause for divorce. But she thinks in her mind, see, I'm not Mormon, but from what I'm being told, she thinks that she will not go to heaven if she divorces this man because that is a better or for worse situation. She has to stick by him.
It says, in the name of God, I take you to be my wife, husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish until parted by death. This is my solemn vow. I think, it's kind of a vague statement in the sense of what does death actually mean? And could the death of your relationship happen, or the death of your marriage happen by you molesting a child? And I think that's a serious thing.
That's a serious thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that's some, like, you need some time away from me. I need time away from you, number one, because you're detrimental to me and my family. And then on top of that, you need time to go work on yourself. And marriage is not a healthy thing for either. This marriage is not a healthy thing for either one of us. I think that's a clear sign. Regardless of what it is. I mean, I don't think God wanted you to be tortured in a relationship. Mm-hmm. He wanted you to suffer through difficult times, but that's not difficult. That's
bad.
That's detriment. Anyway, so we have a woman who's given her take on the Derek Jackson relationship and how she says women are being taught a certain way in the church to be, and that that the church needs to evolve. This woman is a lesbian, but we'll let you hear what she has to say.
Okay. All
right, when we come forward, it's KBLA Talk for tonight.
We don't try to be all things to all people. We just remain true to who we are. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
On Sunday, January 15th at 4 p.m., SCLC Southern California presents Moving into the Promise of the Beloved Community at the 52nd Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Legacy Celebration. President William D. Smart invites you to attend the celebration on Dr. King's birthday, Sunday, January 15th, 4 p.m. at the Sheraton LAX, 6101 West Century Boulevard. This year's event will honor community members who have made a significant impact in 2022, including our own Tavis Smiley, who will also deliver the keynote address. For tickets, call 213-268-3082 or email Pastor Smart at sclc-sc.org. That's 213-268-3082 or email Pastor Smart at sclc-sc.org. Don't miss SCLC Southern California's 52nd Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Legacy Celebration, Sunday, January 15th, 4 p.m. at the Sheraton LAX.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer-lasting scent.
Shop Macy's last-minute gift sale and save 20 to 60%, plus an extra 20% off great gift ideas with your coupon or Macy's card. Not sure what to get? Let them choose with a Macy's gift card. Shop your local Macy's early and late, and get your orders faster when you pick up curbside or in-store. Plus, spend your Macy's money on anything, no merchandise exclusions. Details at Macys.com/Macy's Money. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Find a righteous rage, and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, so here we go. The gardening theologian is speaking out about Derek Jackson and Denia Jackson's relationship, and I just want to see what you guys thought about this whole thing. Derek Jackson is a let me see what he bills himself as. See if I can. Author, speaker. I help people restore the broken relationship with themselves. Okay, I think that's good. He's not trying to be the relationship coach. He's like, I'm trying to help you fix yourself. I don't know if that's changed. This guy has 1.3 million followers on social media. A lot of women like him. He says, he says a lot of great things that a lot of women I agree with. Mm-hmm. But his relationship he filed for divorce. And sometimes people outgrow each other. Sometimes relationships just become, as much as you try to stay in them, hard to be in.
Yeah.
And you just, at some point, you're just like, I got to go. So this woman is the gardening theologian. Now, I didn't know she was lesbian, but looking at her, I was like, oh, she's a lesbian. But listen to her talk about Derek Jackson and Denia Jackson's toxic, and she says this is what they call toxic church partnerships. Okay, hold on. Where's my little, give me that gray thing over there. I'm sorry. I always forget. Not that one. It has a little red, the red end. We got all kind of plugs over here. I didn't know there was another plug over there. How many? What's all over there? Oh, I wonder if that splitter is the same. Is that big not XLR, the quarter inch? Is that the same one as the headphone one? Oh, yeah. You're like, I didn't even know it was over there either. Okay. All right, so here's Derek. Let me restart this here. Here's Derek. Here they're talking about Derek Jackson's relationship.
Let's talk about Denia Jackson, Derek Jackson, and toxic church partnerships. Black women in the church are taught to emotionally sacrifice themselves for their husbands, and this also exists across racial lines as well. In many ways, Black women in the church are taught that their value lies in how endlessly graceful they can be to their male partners. I mean, let's even take a look at John Gray and look at how he describes his wife.
Something, my wife has endured more pain birthing me than both of our children.
Patriarchy allows men to use women as developmental tools and leave them. And this is incredibly traumatic, and we should acknowledge that this dynamic exists in churches, that men are allowed to use women as developmental stepping stools while then leaving them behind. And the women that are then left in these failing marriages or divorces have immense grief and pain that's often not attended to. I've never found the Dania or Derek Jackson situation to be funny. I felt like we've been watching, a marriage fall apart in real time and watching Dania go through real pain and trauma in real time. And though we can say that maybe some of her behavior has been problematic, I think it comes from real pain and is emblematic of the way the church doesn't teach us to process our own emotions, but also doesn't teach us to build healthy partnerships that are mutual and reciprocal and safe.
The wife that I chose is better than the man that I am. I married a woman 2 sizes too big. I have to grow into Aventer. She's a coat.
There is nothing sweet or romantic about having to grow into your wife. And there's nothing beautiful about marrying someone whose needs you cannot meet. And I really want the church to move towards, teaching women that their value lies within themselves, that their worthiness is not tied to whether a man can see them or not see them, and that it is not their responsibility to make their Christian husband love them. Women are more than just developmental spaces. Women are human that deserve time and space to become and grow safely without having to do the emotional labor of making up the gap in their partnership. And again, I think that Dania deserves our sympathy. I think women in these partnerships deserve our sympathy, and that we need safer and healthier teaching about relationships in our churches, and that pastors need to be more responsible with what they're preaching from the pulpit, because it's impacting people's lives and their marriages as well. And my name's Ciara, so like and follow for more content like this.
All right, so she's a lesbian.
And she's a friggin' moron, and I'll tell you why. Let me just tell you why.
There's a lot to unpack here, right?
All I want to say is this. If you gave me more examples, I would listen to you. You give me one example of 2 people you're watching. She's blanketing the church. Tell me other couples, and then maybe I'll listen to you. But you're talking about 2 people. First of all, I don't follow those 2 people. I've heard about them through you. There's so many pastors. There's so many other churches out there. You're talking about one specific instance. Give me more instances, Dania, because you sound like a freaking moron.
Her name's Ciara.
Oh, Ciara. Give me more. Who's Dania?
Dania is the Derek Jackson.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Give me more instances, lady, because she sounds like a moron and she sounds like somebody who blankets all Christians. How would you like it if I blanketed all lesbians? They don't like that, and it just makes me very, very angry. I will hear you if you say, I have A, B, C, D, E. Here's a bunch of examples. She even said it translates outside of just the black churches, but also, goes to other churches of other nationalities. She didn't give any examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here, lady.
So let's take it step by step with
other women outside the marriage.
Let's talk about Dania Jackson, Derek Jackson, and toxic church partnerships. Black women in the church are taught to emotionally sacrifice themselves for their husbands, and this also exists across racial lines.
I think they're mostly taught to sacrifice themselves for their families. So that's one thing. So let's get that straight. I don't think any woman is now they are told to let your man lead because he's supposed to be led by God, and if you're following him, he's following God. So there's a whole thing.
Are we talking about black churches, or specifically talking about? Are you telling me all churches are saying that?
I think biblically, I think that's what I think the consensus is, that your man is the leader of the house, and that he is led by God, and you are to follow him. Not to say blindly, but you know what I'm saying. You know whether or not your man is being led by God or not. You know your man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying. So if he's following God, then you should follow him, because what he's doing is ultimately for the family at the end of the day. So, so that's one thing. But I also want to say she's looking through this through the eyes of a lesbian.
Of course she is.
She's looking at this through the eyes of a female at the same time, too, because where you assume, there's a lot of assumptions here that Derek Jackson is the problem in the relationship. And we don't really know. We have one instance of Derek Jackson admitting improper behavior in his marriage, but there's we don't know what the marriage consists of. And what's the catalyst for this improper behavior that he's dealing with?
As well. In many ways, black women in the church are taught that their value lies in how endlessly graceful they can be to their male
That's untrue also.
partners.
That's very untrue.
I mean, let's even take a look at John Gray and look at how he describes his wife.
Something. My wife has endured more pain birthing me than both of our children.
Right. So relationships are not equally balanced.
Mm-hmm.
There's always gaps in relationships, and that's what relationships are. You kind of learn from each other. I mean, there are things I learn from my girlfriend all the time, There are nuances of femininity that she helps educate me on, and that helps me grow as not only a man but also as a person on the air. Some of my words are very blunt. And I've learned to kind of soften my tone or use a velvet glove when I want to make a point without really just tearing the whole point away. Fahim, I see your call. We're going to get to not a lesbian, but I'm going to defend the lesbian.
Oh, wow.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to more of this when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you a Christmas season that is merry and bright. Happy holidays.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. WSYX ABC 6 Fox 28 reports Nayla Jackson, the suspect who allegedly stole a car with 2 black children in the back seat, is in the hands of Indianapolis police. She previously had left one of the 2 boys in a car seat at a Dayton airport. However, the other baby, 5-month-old Kason Thomas, has not been found despite her capture. A flavored tobacco product ban is now in effect in California. It means flavored tobacco for e-cigarettes, menthol cigarettes, and flavored cigars can no longer be sold in stores. Afro Man has announced he's running for president in 2024. The rapper took to Instagram on Tuesday to officially launch his bid for the presidency. In a post, Afro Man cited rising inflation, a struggling economy, corrupt politicians, and many other issues as reasons for him running for office. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network at BINnews.com.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. MVP's Pro Rewards members visit Lowe's now and earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro. Then redeem for Lowe's e-gift cards and more. Offer valid through 1/8/23. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. Points expire 12/31/23.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
After most of the college football recruiting activity ended on Wednesday, here's the top 10 ranking based on several scouting services. Alabama, Georgia, Miami, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, LSU, Florida, and Ohio State. USC is ranked 11th by 24/7 Sports and 13th by Rivals.com. Rivals.com has UCLA at number 45. Tennis star Naomi Osaka is the world's richest female athlete for the 3rd straight year. According to Forbes magazine, Osaka earned $51.1 million in 2022. Serena Williams is second at $41.3 million. The Lakers and Clippers are off today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're a slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
If you're the victim of a car accident, call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to getting the maximum compensation you deserve, our team hits it out of the park. Call 833-MVP-WINS for a free case review.
Call on me, your MVP.
If you're not listening to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. Everybody wants to talk to Tavis.
That's one reason, by the way, why I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. The 3 people I always most hoped would interview me were Phil Donahue, Studs Terkel, and Tavis Smiley. Donahue's retired, Terkel's deceased, so this is a real thrill for me. And the reason why I have such respect for what you do is you have a historically informed conversation of depth and detail.
Be sure to tune in to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on your unapologetically progressive radio station, KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path
to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase.
Say number one, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Aisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Let K. Michelle's Kitchen Catering bring you a world of flavors to your next event. For all occasions, book with K. Michelle's Kitchen Catering. Call 310-819-6213 or go to kmichellekitchencatering.com. Proud sponsor of the Office of the Week. Let K. Michelle's Kitchen Catering cater your next event. Book today at kmichellekitchencatering.com or on Instagram at kmichelles_kitchen catering or on Facebook at kmichelles Kitchen Catering. We look forward to cooking for you soon.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
So we're talking about this woman who is giving advice to regarding black women in the church, and she's calling out or using two examples of Derek Jackson and John Gray, who's a pastor also. John Gray, we just played where he says, "My wife has endured more pain birthing me than both of our children." Which, listen, this comes when you're trying to cohabitate with two individuals, and you've got ego, you've got career, you've got family, you've got spiritual calling, especially in regards to John Gray. And you can also say in the Derek Jackson case at the same time, too. But this woman is saying the church is doing women a disservice. And I'm saying that this woman is looking at this through a set of lesbian eyes, which are filtered through... Looking at this through eyes that are filtered through her lesbianism and her inability to look at the bigger picture as a whole instead of just one side of it.
Also, she's looking through the eyes of just not probably understanding that there's different types of Christians and Christianity. A lot of people blanket all Christians and put them in all one lump sum, which is unfortunate. So it's hard for me to understand where she's coming from because she's just telling me about one specific instance, and she's saying most women in the church act like this, act like that, and I don't necessarily agree with her.
I've noticed some lesbian women have a disdain for men.
They do, some of them.
And I don't.
Some of them do.
I really hate that some of them feel that way, because I don't look at lesbian women with any disdain at all, and it's very interesting. Like they would have there's like men are pigs, men are this, men are that, men are this. Not all of us.
No,
some of us are.
Patriarchy allows men to use women as developmental tools and leave them. And this is incredibly traumatic, and we should acknowledge that this dynamic exists in churches.
Is that true? Does patriarchy allow some men? I don't even know about patriarchy. It's very hard to try to grasp. Some men are just bad husbands.
Yeah, of course.
And then there are some men who are good husbands. And so I don't know what the patriarchy coming in. Once again, I feel that this is being viewed through the eyes of a lesbian and not necessarily the eyes of biblical eyes. But this woman calls herself the gardening theologian.
That men are allowed to use women as developmental stepping stools while then leaving them behind.
Is that true? Do we as men use women as developmental stepping stools?
To develop ourselves?
Yeah,
I've learned from every person I've come in contact with. I've definitely learned a lot from women. I've learned that not all women are the same. there are certain characteristics in a lot of women, but they're not all the same. They have different attitudes, different outlooks, different politics, different spiritual beliefs, different nuances. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, and when I've talked to some of my friends when they've gotten out of relationships, like we all say pretty much the same thing. It didn't work out, but we learned from the situation. And, because a lot of times we walk away and it's amicable. So I think we can learn from each other. I don't know. I've never felt used like I was
like
used.
a stepping stone.
Like a stepping stone in any relationship. If we've walked away, I either like you or I hate you, but I've learned.
Yeah.
And I've been grateful that I've learned.
Yeah, I think there's learning on both sides.
Yeah.
And the women that are then left in these failing marriages or divorces have immense grief and pain that's often not attended to.
I mean, that's true. There are some women who are done dirty by men.
Of course.
And then there are some women who do men dirty at the same time too.
Goes both ways.
I mean, it goes both ways. Except I think when it comes to men, we're not as vocal as women are. We just take the L on the chin and kind of move on. We cry in the darkness of our home. Mm-hmm. And in our car, where nobody sees us, because being vulnerable is a kind of a sign of weakness to kind of what we've been taught. So we don't show our emotions or our tears.
I've never found the Nia or Derek Jackson situation to be funny. I felt like we've been watching, a marriage fall apart in real time and watching Dania go through real pain and trauma in real time. And though we can say that maybe some of her behavior has been problematic, I think it comes from real pain and is emblematic of the way the church doesn't teach us to process our own emotions.
I think that's true. Here's some of her behavior, is what she's talking about. Let me see if I can find it here. So she is like, when I say she's G'd up in the church and spirituality, this is her tossing a spell on people. This is her tossing a spell on people.
Every person speaking against the names Dania Jackson and Derek Jackson in mockery, accusations, slanders, and lies, may the mercies of God be withdrawn from you. May your husbands and wives become widows. Let your children become fatherless. Let your seed become vagabonds on the earth. Let the words of your mouth and your words of your hands be returned back to you. Let it go down your throat and choke you slowly until your days become few on the earth. The word of God says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You've been warned. And if you want to know where that is at in the Bible, go to Psalm 109.
False
go
prophets,
to Psalm
100%.
35. Go to Psalm 140. Go to Psalm 141. And keep our names out of your mouth. In the name of Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know too much theologically to really understand, is this appropriate Christendom?
Oh, no.
It's not.
Christianity.
Come on, Daniel.
Is there a certain sect of a church that believes in putting hexes out there?
That was witchcraft. That was blasphemous.
Right. Blasphemy.
That was very blasphemous.
Yes.
That was witchcraft. And woo!
Even a side note, when I told you I've been watching those Louisiana parole board hearings where people are asking for parole or clemency, victims get up and get to speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't let people out of jail because of victim opposition. And I was thinking today as I was coming to work, watching these things, that should they ignore the victims? Because let's say a person commits a crime and he's punished for that. And the punishment is he's in jail. And while he's in jail for 20 or 30-something years, which is a significant amount of time that his life has been taken away from him, he has made steps to turn his life around and has shown that through his conduct in jail, by not getting any write-ups, by taking classes, by excelling in the programs that they offer, by taking the guidance from the older inmates who have been down this path before, and has shown a true remorse. But yet you come to a parole board hearing and you have victims who are still angry. Should those victims be denied a chance to speak? Because although one person has done the healing for and is paying the price for the wrong that they've done to people, do you get to continuously live in anger and And is that a Christian thing to do? Is that the right thing to do, to sit there and have so much hate towards a person in your heart at the end of the day, regardless of what? They paid a price. How much of that price do you want them to pay? And is that hatred at the end of the day, which, and should we take that into consideration in letting someone out of jail? Your hatred for an individual for a crime that they committed 30 years ago, which is a very long time, and we know people change, should that even be relevant if the person has done so much work?
Well, I'm just going to tell you somebody who was remarkable. When that white boy went into that church and started shooting up,
Dylan Roof.
There was it one or two people that said, "I forgive you." That was an honest to God, real Christian woman who said, "I forgive you." That's what you're supposed to do.
Because you can't hold that hate.
Right. And so you're not supposed to. I mean, according to how I was brought up, you're not supposed to hold on to it. You're supposed to let it go. But it's very difficult to. It's not easy. It's a very hard thing to do.
It's not easy. Somebody's wronged you. Somebody's taken someone you love. Someone has maimed you. Someone has hurt you, and then you want to forgive them.
You know, it's biblical though about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, Lord Jesus Christ forgave us for all of our sins. It takes me back to maybe about 5 years ago. I was working on the UConn men's basketball staff, and we were playing Kansas in the NCAA tournament. And I don't know if you guys remember the high school student, ex-football player that was 24 years old that walked in the weight room and shot his ex-high school coach.
I think I vaguely.
Okay, so I met Ed Thomas's son's best friend who gave me the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the 30 for 30 on ESPN about forgiveness. And the family of Ed Thomas forgave the killer's family, and the whole community came together, prayed for each other, and loved on each other after this tragedy.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime in terms of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
The Ed Thomas story is just phenomenal.
Right, and it takes everybody.
Oh, it was collective.
It's
by
collective.
far.
It takes.
But it was a small town too.
It is.
Yeah.
The person who committed the tragedy to see the wrong of their ways and work towards rehabilitating themselves and working towards being in a place to even ask for forgiveness. And it also takes people seeing that change and having strong belief in their faith to give that forgiveness and put everything else in the hands of God. Fahima and Darren and Rialto, call back. I see your phone call. We're going to get to your phone calls when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
January 6th committee condemns Donald Trump, referring him to the Department of Justice as a central cause of the insurrection in a sweeping report. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. 160 pages, and the committee labels Trump as the central cause of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Charges include obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to make a false statement, insurrection, and more. The committee said others also warrant referral, though those individuals were not specified. The January 6th committee conducted 9 public hearings presenting testimony from more than 70 witnesses regarding its investigation into the attack, 30 of which pled the Fifth Amendment. What do you believe will be the outcome of this? We want to know. Find this story on our social media pages on all socials at KBLA 1580.
Congratulations to Compton Sheriff's Department Civil Management Bureau for being selected as the KBLA Talk 1580's Office of the Week. Visit the KBLA app to enter your office to win the Office of the Week. Congratulations, Compton Sheriff's Department Civil Management Bureau.
Central Neighborhood Health Foundation is a full-service network of federally qualified health care centers that serves local communities throughout Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. CNHF clinics provide low-cost to no-cost, compassionate, comprehensive, quality health care, which includes primary care services for chronic disease and diabetes management, pediatric and women's services, preventive care, vision and dental screenings, COVID-19 testing and vaccines, flu vaccines, behavioral health, HIV, and substance use services. Virtual telehealth visits are available from the comfort of your home with highly qualified physicians and medical professionals. CNHF also provides peer support specialist training and help with housing navigation. Central Neighborhood Health Foundation. Your wellness is our priority. Comprehensive care built on trust and respect. For more information, visit cnhfclinics.org or call 213-536-5815 today to locate a clinic near you.
When you're the victim of a car accident, who goes to bat for you is crucial. We're MVP accident attorneys, the personal injury pros. Hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Our team is in it to win it, and we'll fight to get the maximum compensation you deserve. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation. Call 833-MVP-WINS.
Call on me, your MVP.
We're not ratings driven. We're engagement driven. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Check it out. All right, let's go to Fahima out there. Fahima, what do you want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, and again, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Greetings, Daniel, Krista, and Don.
Hello.
And now, let me just, and again, I'm not a lesbian. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yes, yeah, loud and clear.
I'm speaking as my grandmother was a minister in the AME church, and my grandfather was a bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And I later joined the Pentecostal church. You guys are talking about things in general. Specifically, in many of these Christian churches, there are certain roles that are dictated. And Krista, before I get into Krista, you even started at the beginning of the conversation talking about your Mormon friend, whose husband committed an unspeakable crime.
Yes.
But how she still has to stay married to him for fear that she will go to hell. And there are dictates in many of these. And again, there's not one Christian church.
Mm-hmm.
There are many different denominations.
Yes.
But in these fundamental churches, and here, I'm going to run them off. Bishop Eddie Long. You also had,
he paid the ultimate. Eddie Long paid the ultimate price. Go ahead.
John, I'm not finished.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not
All right, go ahead.
No, Bishop Eddie Long. Okay, there was Billy Graham Jr. Him and his wife were having a threesome, and he threw his wife under this bus and said, "Oh, she was just having an affair." You also had Tammy Faye Baker. Now these are people we know about, but I grew up in an AME church, and I saw stuff, and I grew up later joined a Pentecostal church. In my Pentecostal church, there was a husband who was beating the crap out of his wife. He was a deacon in the church, and she was a choir director, and it would have been shameful for her to divorce him. And I think what the woman was talking about, how in many of these fundamental churches, the role that women have to take. There's the first lady of the church has to represent a certain particular role. The church, and they're all dead now, but the pastor of my church was Bishop William L. Bonner, and his wife was a PhD. And she wanted to preach, and it created a big uproar in the church. She was supposed to just sit there and look pretty. And he complained, what more does she want? I put pearls on her neck and diamonds on her finger. Why does she want to be a preacher? And so the point is, many of these doctrines contend that women have to take a particular role in church. They're not talking about, if you're attending the church. But if you are a pastor's wife, you're a deacon's wife, there are certain things that you cannot do, and there's a role that you have to take. And so you guys began to talk about in general and relationships in general. She's specifically talking about the dictates, the patriarchal dictates in many of these churches, right? And like even when I joined the Pentecostal church, I was very young, and I sat in and I threw away all my slacks because the church dictated that women weren't supposed to wear slacks. And when I was in college for the first time, and I joined this Christian club, and I'm questioning why these other people are wearing slacks, because this was the doctrine of my particular church. And all I'm saying is not all, some churches brainwash people. And speaking of brainwashing, there's a film I want you to see, Krista, with Sterling Brown and Regina Hall called Honk for Jesus Saves. Honk for Jesus, Jesus Saves. It was a film that came out not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the movie.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, Daniel. Then she's not saying all Christians, if you go to a church, this is going to happen, but there's a role in some churches, the Pentecostal churches, the fundamentalist churches, there are roles, submissive roles that women have to maintain.
Like she's saying it's a certain etiquette that regardless of what happens at home, right? And behind closed doors.
I definitely agree with that.
When you come out, and this movie was based on kind of satire. It was Sterling and Brown and Regina Hall. I saw it in Martha's Vineyard at the film festival.
Okay, so
Sterling Brown.
Fahima, I definitely when it comes to like how the pastor's wife has to present, I definitely agree with that part because I think we've all seen how there's been some pastors that have been horribly fake and really abusive to their women, and the women just suck it up because of the pastor's wife. Oh yeah, I definitely believe that happens, but I was just talking about women in general.
No, she doesn't. She was using the example of the people that was in profile, and I don't think she's talking about people that just go to church. If you attend a church Catholic, but she's talking about people. If you have a role in the church, the women have a particular role. And like I said, and I went to a particular apostolic church, and the deacon was beating the hell out of his wife, and she had to stay there with him, and she couldn't leave him. Right? There was another situation where, I could tell you some stories. And these women had to stay there and put up with it. Not because they were members of the church, but because they had particular roles within the church. Yeah. And that's what she's talking about, right? And I've seen it firsthand, being in the AME church and also being in the Pentecostal church. To some degree, it's brainwashing. And again, I want to reiterate, your friend in the Mormon church, her husband committed an unspeakable crime. And she's fearful, oh, well, if I leave him, I'm going to go to hell. Well, I'm going to tell you something. He ain't going to hell. He ain't going to heaven for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what she's speaking of.
Well, I get it, but she's not clearly defining that. It's just
that's where I was confused.
She's making blanket statements about women in the church.
I've seen that video, and it was clear to me this is what she was talking about. She gave you an example. Even as much as I respect Jamal Bryant, who's done some wonderful things, but when he was here in Baltimore, he was cheating on his wife. In fact, his wife ended up joining Housewives, one of those housewives shows. I have a lot of respect for Jamal Bryant, but while he was here in Baltimore, he messed up.
What about? Well, yeah, but does that mess up? Like, it like John. She was talking about John Gray. Does that mean that John Gray is a bad guy because he had to grow into his wife? I mean, he's not a. Yes.
John, they're getting a divorce.
John Gray.
What she's saying is the crap that many of these churches contend that women are supposed to put up with are unspeakable. I mean, there was one woman, and she told her story on YouTube about how her husband was doing the same thing that Bishop Eddie Long was doing.
Oof.
The thing is, many of these churches, the dictate is that you have to put up with this crap, and they will use the Bible to contend. I don't think that one was casting any spell, because when I got on, I was going to tell you that was in the Old Testament, what she was saying. But people have used the Bible to sit here and to brainwash and shame people to unspeakable situations. That's why previously there was a conspiracy of silence. Women were putting up with all kind of sexual abuse, putting up with their children being blessed. I told you I had a client, and she fathered a child by her own father, and a mother, because they were in the church, she just raised the child up as her sibling. And the thing is, there's many horrible things that women have to put up with in these institutions. They're not saying, oh, well, it's a parishioner, you attend this church casually. If you remember that church, if you a deacon's wife, the assistant pastor's wife, you are not going to get a divorce. You're going to have to suffer it.
Yeah. All right.
And that's what he's talking about.
All right. Thank you, Fahima, for that. Not a lesbian, but defending the lesbian. I appreciate that. Let's go to Q in Los Angeles. What's up, Q?
My brother, how you doing?
My brother,
How
yes.
is everybody doing?
Good.
Hi. Happy Kwanzaa to all. Quick question. The lady who was cursing or talking bad about men, that lesbian lady.
Yes.
Is she a pastor in the church or what? What position is she?
That's a good question. Let me go to her page real quick and let's see what she builds herself as. Let's see, diversity consultant, theologian, writer, master of theology, Harvard University. She, her, hers are her pronouns, and she has the rainbow flag next to her. Let's see. Let's go to her website and see what she says. Sierra Jones, consultant, writer, educator, diversity counseling, training workshops, freelance content writing, and curriculum review. Black women bias in the workplace. I don't think she's in the church. Check out my writing on Medium. My garden taught me to love myself, and she's just a speaker. I don't think she's in a church, but she studied theology. So there's something to be said there.
You know, the behavior of lesbianism and homosexuality in general is an abomination to God.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere in the Bible where there is a recognition, any recognition given to that is negative. There's nothing in the Bible from the Old Testament to the New Testament that glorifies it.
That glorifies what? Lesbianism?
Lesbianism or homosexuality, you know. But today, Christians of today.
Well, maybe she isn't a lesbian. Hold on, let me look here and see. Maybe she's not. Let me see if this is her husband. Oh no, that's the brother. No, that's the brother. Yeah, go. Yeah. You know what? Listen, Q, hold on. We're running behind on time. I'm sorry. We're going to continue your phone call when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. WSYX ABC 6 Fox 28 reports Nayla Jackson, the suspect who allegedly stole a car with 2 black children in the back seat, is in the hands of Indianapolis police. She previously had left one of the 2 boys in a car seat at a Dayton airport. However, the other baby, 5-month-old Kason Thomas, has not been found despite her capture. A Flavor